Some big things are happening in the world. Not talking about Alberta leaving Canada, okay? I'm not talking about Tesla's burning, Trump becoming the god emperor of humanity, okay? I'm not talking about France, jailing its opposition, okay? I'm talking about real shit. The most important thing here for all of us, okay? Path of Exile 2 patch notes. And I am actually really happy to admit that I was wrong. What was I wrong about? Well, I thought, based on how the endgame was, that maybe their goal was too similar to Path of Exile 1. And by the way, now you can see the hours I played. Obviously, this is not a lot. Path of Exile 2 will never be my main game, okay? I'm pretty sure Last Epoch would be more of a main game for me. However, that doesn't mean I don't want to play Path of Exile 2. But I also want to play Warframe. But I also like V Rising sometimes. And Last Epoch. Okay? So Path of Exile 2 will be something I dip my toes in every so often, maybe every other season, something like that. So, technically, my vote for what Path of Exile 2 needs to be, not as important as somebody who plans to make this their main game. Okay? By the way, if this becomes my main game, I'm totally down for it. Just right now, I don't think it has exactly what I'm looking for. But I still love the game. Anyways, if you've seen my videos before, people think I'm complaining a lot about Path of Exile 2. You know why? Because I didn't like the direction. However, that being said, oh, by the way, I didn't show you Path of Exile 1 hours. See, I really don't like Path of Exile 1, okay? Like 130 for me is not something that, like, impressive. Anyways, so I used to think that they're going in the direction of Path of Exile 1. Actually, I don't remember who made this video, one of the Path of Exile con creators, and they were saying that Path of Exile is... You're clicking more button in Path of Exile 1 than you do in Path of Exile 2. Like, Path of Exile 2 is like dumbed down endgame to the point where it's like, what's the point of having all these buttons? Most people have like one or two. I know I said something similar, but I also saw a video of somebody saying this. What's the point of having multiple abilities? Combos don't mean anything. That one is mine, but whatever, right? So I love seeing the changes that I've seen. Now, we're gonna go over them. I'm gonna put the Rax video in the background. I'm not gonna do like a full reaction. I just want to focus on like a few pointers. How they changed the builds, how they nerfed everything across the board. Now, why do I think everything should be nerfed across the board? Honestly, because no one would complain when they buff stuff to keep up with the pace that they have in mind. Right now, I am pretty sure they nerfed more than they should have. Overall. Okay. Now they also nerfed a lot of HP numbers and defenses on enemy monsters, but your damage, or like the speed at which you're doing damage, is gonna be a lot slower, pretty much across the board. Now there are stuff I'm like kind of confused about, which I agree with Rex. The Concoction Ranger. I have no idea how you're gonna generate mana. This is not a build I even care about. However, that might have been way over nerfed, okay? But everything else, Hex Blast needing to like have your curse do like half of its duration on monsters, great, okay? I like it. Why do I like that? For example, like this is, I'm just gonna use this as an example. Why do I like that? Because before it was just spamming Hex Blast while you have curses passively, right? You just have an aura for curses and you just spam Hex Blast. Kind of boring. Again, one button gameplay. Not very interesting. Okay, why do I like this change? One, you can actually reduce the duration of your curses. So instead of like increasing duration of curses, you can reduce them to the point where maybe, like, if you cast a curse and cast Hex Blast, that would be the exact amount of time for half the duration. Or maybe one more cast in between. So you would do like the curse, you would do the chaos thingy, like the bolt, I forgot the name of it, and then you do Hex Blast, for example, right? Or like you would put Curse, Totem, and then Hex Blast. Stuff like that, right? Like that, right? So it's like the Totem would make them more susceptible to chaos damage, the Curse would obviously, do the Curse thing, and the Hex Blast would do the rest of the damage. I like that idea. It means you have to play around. Now, what also this dictates, this type of game style, is you can't just run around and grab a whole fucking screen of monsters and just blast them, okay? I don't mind getting to that point. I don't want it to be at the beginning of the game. And for me, entrance to maps is beginning of the game. Yeah, campaign, yada yada. Let's be real, vast majority of the time, you are spending them in maps. Okay? Campaign, honestly, once you figure it all out and you've done enough runs, campaign is a joke. Okay? It's really not that hard. Unless, like, you're doing, like, something, like, weird fucking build that you've never played, whatever. Okay? Campaign, not hard. Okay? For me, maps, up to, like, at least 12... is introduction. You shouldn't be blasting 1 through 12. Okay, your build should not be zooming all the way. 13, 14, 15 is when you should have already gotten your gear together, and from here on out, it's like very small incremental boosts, buffs to your build that would make you go faster, that would blow shit up faster, stuff like that. We all know, unless I didn't notice this in the patch notes, but we all know that the HP of monsters is not scaling as much as their damage. Not even close. Like, monsters at tier 5 maps are about the same HP as tier 12, okay? Like, it's like very, very small HP changes. And they also nerfed their defenses now as well. And also pinnacle bosses. No, sorry, not pinnacle bosses, but like, what do you call it? Ascension bosses have like 50% less HP, and I think maybe Pinnacle, I don't remember, but like some bosses have 50% less HP, right? You are not supposed to blast. They nerfed the amount of spawns that Breach would produce. Fantastic. Low level trials, less spawns. Fantastic. Okay, all of these are great signs that the direction they want to take with Path of Exile 2 is slower, more meaningful combat. You have to think about where you're standing. You have to attack priority targets. Like, let's say you're fighting, I don't know, like a rare and whatever, right? So it's like, you can't just go around running the whole map and like shit just dies because you exist, okay? That is a super boring gameplay. However, it is fun to get to that point. But that getting to that point should not be so easy as it was before. The nerf to heralds, all that stuff. Fantastic changes. Anyways, now let's go to like some stuff that Rex said, and we'll go over that. Okay, so this part, pretty much 100% agree that they went too far with this. Now again, I'll trust him with this information because I don't play Concoction. I find it to be pretty fucking boring. But, if this was your thing, I am sorry for your loss.
Concoction skills. Okay. This is maybe a little bit more in depth. Maybe I could sit here and ramble here, but I guess let me summarize this. Here's the thing. The concoction skills, they now require an unarmed weapon set. That means you can't use a Widow Hail anymore. Not sure if I'm speaking your language, but that's a nerf.
This used to be a bow that increases the stats on your quiver.
Here's the problem right here. They now consume 5 mana flash charges per use, and it was previously 3. There are almost no ways to gain mana charges in this game, and the concoction skills use your mana flask. You can gain 0.25 mana charges per second on the flask itself, and there are some passives right in front of Pathfinder that you can pick up that help you with flask charges. But even with both of those, and I played this. I have a super powerful poison concoction Pathfinder. So I know this build. I played it in hardcore SSF. I think I'm level like 92.
You get the point, okay? The problem that this build might have is generating flasks specifically on bosses. Maybe on enemies it shouldn't be that big of a problem if you kill fast enough. Again, I feel like the point of the nerfs is for you to not kill everything so fast to the point where like you can use it. So my guess is that they reworked either some passives, or you're gonna have a build making unique, or few build making uniques that could make this work. Something that has to do with mana, or they added stats that would increase mana regeneration on items, something like that, right? I think PoE2 devs are smart enough to realize that this might be an issue. However, this could have also been an oversight and an over nerf. One other thing that I'm really not happy about, that I think will probably get buffed in a sense, but nerfed pretty quickly. I don't think 3 seconds stun from like, you know, like when you overblock or whatever, like when you get staggered, a 3 second stun, that will be hard nerfed. Like that would probably be, like, I don't know if I want to see the hard nerf. I honestly think like 1.5 second would probably be where they're gonna end up. Similar with like the freezing, stunning the character. This is a problem that Diablo 4 had. This is not a very interesting or very fun mechanic, and as far as I know, even Elden Ring, even Souls game don't do that. Like you're never like stunned for that long. Okay, it's at least I don't remember. I think you can get staggered by like multiple mobs, but you can always like dodge out of it. I don't think the stun change that is actually good. I think 1 second is fine. I think 1.5 is like the limit. Anything more, and honestly, 1.5 seconds will feel like a very long time. So, not a fan of that, and I believe you can get frozen for like a few seconds, stuff like that. Like, not a good idea. But everything else is great. The thing is, like I said, this game is in alpha, and it's way better for them right now to hardcore nerf everything, because later on, they can buff it. Now, clearly, they had a lot of nerfs that they wanted to do up to now. They couldn't because it would literally brick characters that were already in the season. So they decided to do it with the economy reset. That being said, still gonna nuke everyone. Because like they said, the new season mechanics, you will be able to play them in the regular season as well, like the non-season. But let's be real, your characters are going to be bricked, okay? Like, pretty much everything. One thing I do want to mention, though, I didn't see a nerf to... Actually, I've seen, like, in a sense, a buff to Infernalist, the witch, demon form. So now, the demon form, by default, gets up to 10 stacks, not an infinite. And the infinite is... later on, like you can unlock it, and instead of taking percent of your HP, it's gonna take as like a flat amount, from my understanding, which means the 10 stack might be more forgiving now to manage, even though 10 stacks was pretty easy to manage. However, now you can actually have HP now, right? Because before you would have to play it with like 100 to 200 HP and get enough regeneration that like you could get to like 300 stacks. And even for 10 stacks early on, because it's not that easy in a sense to get enough regeneration, you would still want to have a low amount of HP. Now, actually going for high HP and high regeneration and, you know, life steal and stuff like that, that is, in my opinion, going to be viable. Okay, so like you can actually be more tanky, and one of the easiest low what do you call it, low cost builds on the witch was the Infernal ball, the thing that like you channel and blows up, right? And again, your curse still would work because you just have fire resistance, shred, whatever, curse, and then you can do that. So technically, in my opinion, the Infernal is that was like the main build I played until before I quit, is now actually one of the stronger builds. Before it was like medium, but it looks like it might be one of the strong builds because I haven't seen any nerfs to it because it doesn't really use any of the things that were hard nerf. Now, I don't know if they changed passives or whatever. It did use the dog for damage reduction, but again, you won't need this up until like... honestly, you really don't. The 20% reduction, honestly, you're not supposed to get hit on the Infernal, so it doesn't really matter, but you're gonna have a lot more HP now, so, you know. I'm not saying this is like a great build. I don't know what's gonna be a great build. I mean, I did kind of say it, but like I feel like it's going to be a really good build right now, just because of the other nerfs, right? That being said, I do want it to be more nerfed, because that build, even though it wasn't nuking screens as fast as like the monk or whatever, it still was like run around, grab a bunch of monsters, throw the fireball, make it explode, everything dies. Okay, so it was still kind of like that, and very low cost to do it. Like you start doing it honestly during the campaign. I think it was like Cruel 1 you already start doing it, so it was pretty, started being pretty boring very fast. Even bosses, it was like 3-shotting, two to 3-shotting most bosses, like on maps, and I think it was like 8 to 10-shotting the trial bosses. So at like level 70 plus. I'm not saying this was amazing. I'm just saying it wasn't a very challenging build. Okay, so that's I just want to talk about the concoction, that I think it is an over nerf. Everything else, though, in my opinion, fantastic. Now, something I'm actually really happy about is the flame wall nerfs. Well, more like the nerf to the skulls that the flame wall summons. It's only going to summon 2 instead of 5 now. Fantastic. You also can't get the corpse explosion or like using the corpses of the fire skulls something. Either way, like nerfs across the board for that. Fantastic. It was way too easy to abuse. I was using it on Infernalis too. Like it's just too easy to abuse, and honestly, I think this would make other fire abilities a lot more viable. I don't know what they're going to do with Firewall. Firewall, honestly, the only use for Firewall right now is gas, and they might have nerfed that too. Don't remember. Okay, there's like a lot of shit I didn't test. I didn't check every little thing and like memorize it, okay? But if they nerfed Firewall with gas, like the explosion, that's another big nerf. Also, by the way, the poison cloud arrows with multi-shot and firewall, if that hasn't been nerfed, also a bit of a problem, right? Because again, similar concept. This is like a 1 to 2 button playstyle. Like you have, what is it, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? So you have like 12 to 14 buttons, I believe, right? On Path of Exile 2. And you really don't use more than 3 in most builds. And honestly, many builds, for the majority of the time, you only click 1. Right? So again, really not happy with that type of gameplay. I was expecting it to be more interactive, like more interesting. And now it seems like this is their goal. So I am actually really happy about that. Still won't be playing it because the whole last epoch thing that I mentioned in a previous video. I won't be playing this season, but I am really happy. Well, I might be playing this season. I won't be playing it tomorrow. Well, today, I guess, when the video comes out. I won't be playing it right away. I will be playing Last Epoch first. And honestly, hopefully Last Epoch will keep me engaged for the whole PoE2 season. I want Last Epoch to just succeed, okay? And I'm just not a fan of this whole, like, they moved it to April 4th to cog block Last Epoch. They have every right to do it. I just don't like it on principle, okay? Which kind of sucks, because I really want to play this, okay? I'm going to have the weekend. I really want to play it, but fuck it. Whatever, I'm not going to play it. I still have Warframe to farm as well. Anyways, that is the video. Okay, tell me what you think. Do you like the changes or not? Okay, I honestly think, like I said, I think this is a fantastic, this is a great move in the right direction. They can, again, this is early access. They can always buff later. They cannot nerf as easily as they can buff. Okay, buffing stuff will not break builds. Nerfing stuff will, and that is probably the key takeaway. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment down below if you agree, if you disagree, what you agree, what you disagree with, what you think Path of Exile should be, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.